All right, the one thing I wanted to talk about today was something that I know about, and other than education, that's how to build a road. I kind of took the untraditional path to Spring Woods, and I took a 4-year sabbatical from college and went and built roads. And then after going back, I realized that, you know what, there's a lot of similarity between what I was doing in construction work and what we do here. And so when I pulled up the first two pictures, the one that's on the left-hand side, that dirt path, a lot of times our students, that's how they start. And how much wear and tear that dirt path has, it depends on how much the parents have been involved in their life. You know, how much it's been rutted up, how much mud's involved, muck is involved, or maybe it isn't even a path yet. And what we're trying to get to is that long stretch of road that just leads them to wherever they want to go. And so the first thing that we would do when we would bid a job is we'd go out and we'd survey the land. And what we wanted to find out is if we take this job and we want to work this road, do this mile of stretch, what's it going to take? What kind of equipment are we going to have? What kind of experts are we going to have to bring in? Are we going to have to drill? Are we going to have to get new equipment, different equipment, rent equipment? Or what we have, is it good enough? And so we'd go out and we'd survey the land, and a lot of the land that we would use for road work looked just like this. There's nothing there. Mom and Dad didn't do anything. Grandma and Grandpa didn't do anything. It's just basically this raw land. And so we'd get pretty excited about what we were going to do because we knew what was going to happen at the end. And so then we'd go back after surveying and saying, okay, this is a job that we're ready to take on. And we'd look at the blueprints. And this is what happens with our kids. Each little square is 1 year in a kid's life. And they start in kindergarten and we build a mile. They go to first, we build a mile. They go to second, we build a mile. And every year past that, we're going to build another mile of road. And what happens during the course of that year depends on what we find during that mile. And we get this blueprint from the engineers, and a lot of times these are just like the people to write legislation for us. They have all of the book smart that it takes to do the blueprint, but they have absolutely no idea what it takes to build this road. And so they'll come up with a lot of rules and regulations that we had to follow, and they would send somebody out to monitor us, and if we were doing something wrong, then they would make us have to redo it, or they would fine us, or, you know, cause a lot of problems, you know, take away your teaching license. And we would always shake our head and go, man, if these guys only knew what we knew. But we still had to follow the blueprint. That's what's required. You still have to do the job. And one of the things that I learned when I was working road construction is it doesn't matter what it takes to do the job, get the job done. You know, failure wasn't an option. We always hear in education, failure's not an option, failure's not an option. You want to find out failure's not an option, go build a road. Nobody wants to hear about, we can't do this. We can't get there today. We're not going to get done in time. Those things don't happen. And so we'll follow the blueprint to the best of our ability. And the next thing that we would do is, this is what I always did. This is the part that I came in. I was a ditch digger. And so when people say that it's kind of a negative connotation, I really don't care because it is hard work, and the things that I learned, I'll never be able to replace. And so what happens with this, and this is kind of what happens to us here in the school, you get all of these people that have all of these different skill sets, and they're going in and they're going to start building their mile. So we get the kid his freshman year. The dozer operator is going to come in. This could be the math department, the social studies department. What they're going to do is they're going to knock everything down so that these scrapers can come in behind them, and they're going to pick up and they're going to do another part of the job. And what they're supposed to be doing is they're supposed to be following the curriculum that's set, the blueprint that's set, and get this road built. But everybody has a different job. Nobody has the same job. But every job is important. You cannot do the job of the scrapers without the dozers. But the dozers can't operate without the scrapers. And everybody, just because you say you're a construction worker, that doesn't mean you're a dozer operator. Everybody has a skill set. And so these guys will come in, and the reason that I like this little YouTube video with these scrapers is as we go along, you'd find out that the three of them kind of remind me of the social studies department. We go along and we'll run in behind each other and push each other, get each other through the mud and the muck, and then we'll go jump the mud off and come back and try to get some more. But we're always working together. Each one of our teachers is always trying to get that kid to that next mile, which then of course makes the job easier. When they're working together, it's a lot easier than when you're working apart. So then after the dirt work would get done, we'd take all the mud and the muck and we'd take it from point A to point B, and we'd dig that hole out, go get the good dirt, bring the good dirt back in and dump it back in. Oh, wait a minute, that's just like their lives. We have no idea what's going on in their lives, and when we were out surveying, we couldn't see what was going on underneath the surface. We had no idea. But as we started pulling the dirt away, all of a sudden we started finding out that there is a big mud hole right in the middle of the project. And that mud hole causes us to stop everything we're doing, slow down, dig it out, and try to fill it back up with something positive. And a lot of people, they'll say, well, I don't know that I want to do that. I don't know if I want to get that involved. The problem is, if you don't get involved, what happens later on is going to take a lot more to fix. So we finally get this part of the job done, the dirt work done. Maybe. And then the next thing that's going to happen is what's called blue tops. Blue tops kind of reminds me of what we say about raising the bar, bringing a student up to the top of the bar. And what a blue top is it's a stake that's been set on the road, in the ditch, on the slope, wherever it is, and it's the very top. It's where the dirt has to go to. It can't go below it. It can't go above it. It's got to be perfect. We're always striving for perfection, and this is how we have to do it. And so what will happen is they'll go set the blue tops, and the grader operator is going to come around and he's going to check. And he's going to bring everything up. He's going to bring all of the dirt to where it has to be. He's going to finish up what we've already started. And as a government economics teacher, this is kind of where I feel like I fit in, because I have all seniors. I get to do a lot of the finish work. I'm the one that gets to see them do the college applications. I'm the one that gets to be involved as they get excited about graduation and prom and all the things that go on with their senior year. I kind of miss some of the stuff earlier. I don't have as much mud to deal with as everybody else does. And so when we get to the blue tops, this guy will go through and he'll make sure that everything's perfect so that we can get to that next step. That next step is going to be concrete. This is what everybody likes to do because everybody sees it. You're driving by a construction site and they're out there and they've just poured the concrete, and you see that brand new road and you start saying, man, when that gets done, I can't wait to get on that road. I'm going to get home 15 minutes faster than I do every other day, and man, nobody's going to stop me, and oh, I can't wait. And so everybody gets real excited about the concrete. The thing that I see about the concrete, it's a lot like our curriculum. Everybody just wants to go lay it down. Get it done. Get it down. Sometimes we forget about what needs to happen first, and that's that base work. All right, so we get the concrete down. Everything's looking good. You can see that nice new road behind, which if you live on Highway 298, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And we get to that finished road. It stretches for miles. It's perfect. You can go from Los Angeles to the East Coast at 100 miles an hour, and there's not a lot, you just don't have to worry about much because we've done a great job laying that concrete, right? Well, not really. The one thing that I learned in construction is if you don't do the base work right, you're going to come back and do the work again. Only problem is you may not be the one that has to do the work. It may be somebody else. And if you do work that causes stuff like that, it will be somebody else because you won't be around anymore. And so what happens through the course of time, through the course of life, through the weather and everything else that goes on in what we do, potholes develop. And with these potholes, if we've done everything we should have with the base, they're just going to be smaller potholes like this. It's not going to be that big a deal. We can go in, we can fix it, we can cut it out. It won't take very long, it won't be very expensive, and we can go on. And then we got a great road again. But if we don't do what we're supposed to do with the base, we really get to repair it. Now we've got to cut it out, we've got to dig it up again, we've got to tear up sections of the road and redo what somebody should have done right the first time. Because this road is going to happen anyway. This road has got to go. So we'll get this repair work done. And then we're finished again. I've got my mile stretch done. Now I'm going to pass that mile on to Coach Banks, and then I'm going to pass it on to the next person. And like I said, fortunately, as the senior teacher, I'm passing it on to somebody at A&M, somebody at UT, somebody at PV, U of H. And we're going to see what they can do. We're going to see what they can build. Let's see if we can't get them to Los Angeles.